Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delipana, and this is your short take. Tonight, we are going to talk about the great unhinged Orange Jackaloon. You know, way back in the day, when he was first coming onto the political scene as a serious candidate for the presidency, I had people out there saying that he was crazy, okay, that he was, not all put together in the upstairs area of the cranium. And I used to say to people, you can't make that kind of judgment, but you know what? Donald Trump is, after what I have seen since 2016 to now, this man should never be allowed to ascend to any public office again, let alone the presidency of the United States. This is a man who honestly spends his entire day on social media. If he's got an idea in his head about what the needs are of the American people or what he should be talking to them about prior to the election, making the case for him to be president, all he's doing out there is tweeting on Truth Social, which is not Twitter, but this is the stuff that you see all day long, several times a day. I'm going to read a couple of them to you. Okay. Why should crooked Joe Biden be able to force me into the time and expensive trials, especially before the election, on bogus claims pushed by his chief political supporter, the Department of Injustice? What a horrible precedent this sets for future presidential campaigns. It is all about election interference and must be stopped. These are all his tweets all day long. Okay? All day long. Just think of it. They, and then in parentheses, crooked Joe Biden and his thugs, indict me, and their whole campaign is that Trump is indicted. Does that sound fair to anyone? Am I allowed to do such a horrible and unconstitutional thing if and when I win the presidency? We are entering really dangerous territory. Let's get one thing fucking straight here, okay? Donald Trump is being indicted by the Department of Justice, and Joe Biden has not had his fingers in any of this. He has neither tried to protect his own son, nor has he gotten involved with what MAGALand was doing. He has not been involved at all. Okay? This is the Department of Justice doing their job. They are a separate entity. Okay? And it was Donald Trump, by the way, who had his fingers all over Bill Barr, manipulating the Department of Justice while he was president. So let's not ever forget that. Donald Trump is being indicted because of his own actions, because of his own criminal actions. Okay? And now I hear that people have fatigue over him being indicted. What the fuck is wrong with any of you people out there? What's the matter? We just aren't talking pleasantries all day long? We just assume put our head in the sand, pay attention to other shit, maybe a little bit of WWE or some baseball, because democracy is just too much stress for all of you. Well, you just go on and do what you're going to do, because once democracy is gone, it's going to be gone for you too, not just for the rest of us who are aware of the fact that Donald Trump will take democracy away. So the fact that you have indictment fatigue, grow up. How's that? America is the only place in the fucking world where I hear people complain all day long. You complain all day long on social media, all night long on social media, but you don't want to deal with it in the real world. That's what the problem is. If you can stay on social media all day and piss and moan without doing anything, then you're okay. But you don't want to have to deal with it. So let's talk about the Orange Jackaloon a little bit more. This is for all you people out there. He has been to how many rallies since he started being indicted? I would say at least 8 or 9. This is all he talks about. Talks about how unfair it is. Now he's out there whining in an article about the expense and the travel of having to deal with these indictments. Well, you should have thought about that before you did the crime, Junior. How's that? Okay? So in the meantime, this is all he spends his time talking about when he's at his rallies. He doesn't talk about issues with his rallies. He's not talking about the economy. He's not talking about climate change because he doesn't believe in climate change. He's certainly not talking about the next pandemic because he fucked up this pandemic royally, purposely for political gain, I might add, causing at least 300,000 deaths that didn't need to happen. No accountability there. It could be a lot worse than what he's getting right now. Okay? This is the bare minimum. This is a man who tried to overthrow the fucking government. He is literally taking a hammer to democracy. And let me tell you, if he is reelected in 2024, democracy will be gone within the first month of his election. Understand that. We've been through this a million times. I can't tell you how many videos I've made, how many posts I've made about his plan to consolidate power at the presidential level. Every department under him will no longer be staffed by civil servants. He's going to do away with them. They're all going to be staffed by political appointees. That's what fascists and dictators do. They put people in place who are going to agree with him 100% and protect him 100%. His whole cabinet and his whole government will be based on how loyal they are to him, not to the United States of America. And this is what he spends his time doing. Now he's not going to go to the debates. Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to let his buddy Tucker Carlson interview him, and he's going to release a tape for the people where he's going to piss and moan once again about all of this indictment stuff and all of this nonsense. He doesn't want to get up in front of all of these other debaters because this gives them their opportunity to take pot shots at him about his criminality. But the fact of the matter is he's a fucking criminal. The fact of the matter is he did all these things that they are alleging. The rest is just a formality. We watched him on television. We watched the storming of the Capitol. Y'all forget that? I'll put some videos in here in case you missed it. He has done all this shit. And yes, he should be barred from running again under the 14th Amendment, Section 3. Absolutely. There is no question about it. So let's get real here. He doesn't want to debate because he doesn't have anything to say about any of the issues, because I don't really believe that Donald Trump sees that there are any issues for the American people here that he can't solve when he makes America great again, when he's reelected to office so he can oppress women and oppress people of color and, pretend that gays and transgender people don't exist. So he can go on his creating his white nationalist agenda. That's what's going to make America great again in his mind. If you're not paying attention by now, you're never going to pay attention. But just so you understand, I don't care what the media is doing here. I don't care if the mainstream media, which I read every day, is treating him just like he's another candidate. They're wrong too. Their role is to point out to the people exactly what he is. That has historically been the media's role. That's what they were doing back in Nixon's days. They weren't dancing around him like he was some kind of fucking entertainer. Donald Trump is not entertaining to the majority of people in this country. Okay, women don't find his attitude funny. I can assure you that the transgender community doesn't find his attitude funny, nor do gay people. Those three things I'm sure of. And I'm positive most people of color don't either. People like Tim Scott, well, they can because he's got $23 million in the bank. He doesn't know anything about being oppressed. Because once you have money, you can transcend anything in America. That's it for me tonight, folks. I will talk to you all later.